In this video, we're going to talk about how you can overcome morning anxiety as well as practical tips and how to implement it. My name's Andy. I used to suffer from anxiety as well till I found a way to recover naturally. And that's what I share in this video and on this channel. So definitely watch to the end because I'm going to give you a lot of value so that you can actually implement this and overcome your morning anxiety. So let's dive right into it. You might be surprised why anxiety can be the worst in the morning or the evening. That's usually when it tends to be the worst for people. Some people wake up in the night with panic attacks, and that I remember myself as well. In the middle of the night, I would wake up like intense, debilitating anxiety and fear. And to be honest, it was really confusing to me and unsettling, actually, which I think that's why people have anxiety, is because it's obviously very unsettling. And as a result, they resist it. And what you resist, as Carl Jung said, persists and may even grow in size. So most people with anxiety, they're resisting the anxiety, they're fighting it, they're trying to battle it, which we've been conditioned to do with our problems, like conditioned to, fight things and fight for our rights. And like, but what does that do? It actually leads to the opposite result where, we make matters worse, ironically, right? So we can either go about it in a chill way where we stop fighting and we accept what is in this moment, because what is arising in this moment is coming from the past. So there's no point in fighting it. So instead, what we want to do is accept it. And morning anxiety is just a manifestation of anxiety. And I believe this is because in the morning, you are just waking up out of sleep, right? So what happens is during your night, you process, dreams and stuff. So you're processing stuff from the day, from the past. The sleep state is very much a healing state, right? And obviously, I'm not a sleep scientist or something, but this is just my experience. Like the subconscious is just healing itself while we're sleeping. And then that's why we wake up with panic attacks, because it's processing all this anxiety. The nervous system is rewiring itself, it's resetting itself. So that's why sleep is so crucial. By the way, if you have difficulty sleeping, that's normal as well with anxiety and can contribute to morning anxiety. I remember the other day, I didn't sleep well, I slept like shit. And I noticed I was more negative throughout the day, right? And it makes sense because, sleep is crucial for everything. So that being said, don't create any excess importance or excess potential on the sleep, which is to say that, don't create too much resistance around it, because what happens if you don't let it go is you won't be able to sleep. And in the morning, if you have anxiety, maybe even depression, what you want to do is actually acknowledge that it's there, allow it to be there. Don't fight it. It's just anxiety coming up to be felt, healed, integrated, and released. Emotion is energy in motion, and it actually just wants to be felt so that it can leave the body. And feeling is actually healing. So you can see how this emotion that has become blocked in our system is just wanting to be felt so it can be released, so it can leave the body, right? What do? We're pushing it down, it's like holding a water ball underwater. And what happens? It just gets more intense, and then boom. We eventually have a panic attack or anxiety disorder or whatever. So it manifests in some crazy way in our life, if we don't address the healing. Because the way I see reality is that it reflects our state back to us, the mirror principle, if you will. Some people call this a law of attraction, right? It kind of means that our attitude, brings things to us. So we constantly complain, think negatively, resist anxiety, we will continue to perpetuate that condition. So what we want to do is we want to let go of the anxiety in the sense of not having so much grip and control over it, and instead just allowing it to do its thing, Just if it rises, just allow it to be there, knowing that as you do this too shall pass. It is leaving your system. And I recently was confronted with this reality as well, as I have been going through a breakup experience, in which I don't know, I had felt so many intense emotions, man, like so many painful emotions, sadness, even fear and stuff, and I had to process it all. And I had to remind myself of these principles I used to overcome anxiety. Or even, I'm not a perfect person. If I feel something negative, I do my best to just accept it, and knowing that this too shall pass. If you think about it, an emotion always comes and goes. But if we keep fighting it, it just stays. And if we ride the wave, so to speak, and we just allow it to be there, then we just let it pass. What you can also do is you can just sit with yourself and acknowledge the emotion of anxiety. And now I wouldn't recommend dwelling it, amplifying it, but rather just purely witnessing it. And this is like witness consciousness, the observer effect, if you will, because you are not just this limited ego or something, you're actually infinite consciousness having a human experience. So anyway, coming back to the topic is like we can heal through acceptance. That's the way to heal emotions. It's very simple. It's maybe harder to implement, but the truth is simple. If the truth ever is overly complicated, then you are not faced with the truth. I even think Einstein said it in a different way as well. But like if something is too complex, that's not the answer, right? So truth is simple and acceptance is the solution. So morning anxiety, more tactical stuff right now to implement is a morning routine. This is something I would recommend where instead of starting the day, checking social media and going into that negativity, that world of negativity, if you will, or even frying your dopamine receptors, because short form content, meaning those reels, shorts, TikToks, they actually fry your brain, right? So you don't want to do that like you don't want to be on social media, don't want to be on adult movies, and all these things, they mess with your brain, right? So I would suggest actually, if you want to be, what you want to do instead is actually want to consume long form content like this, meaning a video that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour or longer. So not like a short reel that spikes your dopamine and then leads to, feeling low and unmotivated, right? And so if you have morning anxiety, sometimes it's okay, I think, to just like sleep in if you're just totally wrecked, right? Some days you'll just be, if you can afford to do so. Maybe it's good to sleep a bit more, okay? But once you get up, you just get up. Maybe you'll brush your teeth, go for a shower, whatever you do to feel like a bit awake or something. And then you can do your morning routine, which could be, for example, this morning, what I did, I just sat here on the couch. I just got up. I don't think I even brushed my teeth or anything. I went straight to the couch, drank some water. That was key. So when you're like waking up, you're super dehydrated. And so what you can do is actually like wake up, drink some water, maybe like a big glass or something, and then just like sit down on the couch or a chair and just close your eyes and just maybe focus on your breath going in and out. And this also makes you more chill, trains you to be in the present moment. Maybe some intense anxiety arises or some symptom. Then you just witness, accept it, allow it to pass through. And into doing so, you're actually healing the emotion, because emotion is energy in motion, and the witness actually heals the emotion. So next up, what you want to do is you then can imagine yourself living your anxiety-free life, where you are living your life purpose, where you're doing epic shit. Imagine a world of infinite possibility where you don't have anxiety, and then connect with that identity after meditation and really step into that vibration, if you will, right? You are already that, We can go even deeper now into quantum physics and everything, but I don't want to overwhelm you in this video. But, anyway, like this morning routine, if you do that, commit to that for at least 21 days, you show up for yourself regularly, you just make this a priority in your life, you will notice big changes, big changes in how you feel. And maybe you can add some walking, exercise. It's beneficial to get that natural light into your eyes in the first hour after rising. Now, I can't always do that myself either, but I try my best to, even if I can't do it in the first hour, I go outside or I sit outside or I stand outside, I get some natural light in the eyes, Just being indoors all day is very unhealthy, right? So maybe do a morning routine, try and get out there, try and move the body a bit. The most important thing is like meditation, visualization, and if you do those things, and then throughout the day, you act as though you're anxiety free. So you face your fears as best as you can, imperfectly, right? Maybe you face a fear, you get super overwhelmed, then you have to leave, go back home. That happened to me many times on the anxiety recovery journey. So also don't be perfect with yourself. And if you do that, maybe you can also listen to an inspiring podcast or a book or whatever. You're feeding your ecosystem with new positive, inspiring ideas instead of like darkness, like the news and stuff, If you want me to actually coach you through your anxiety, I've helped a bunch of people overcome anxiety, and I'm blessed to call this my profession. So if you want me to help you, you can schedule a free call somewhere below this video. There will be a link